If you have a fear of being seen, the bottom line of what's happening for you is you are valuing safety way more than you're valuing success or intimacy or fill in the blank of whatever it is you think you want. You think you want success and money and lots of people giving you attention and love. You think you want that, but your value and your protection of needing to stay safe really comes before that. So even though you think you want all of these successful things over here, there's this part of you that's afraid of being seen that won't let you have it because, again, most of your energy is going into, but we need to stay safe. We need to stay small. We cannot be successful. We cannot be seen. We cannot be in love. So even when not being seen and not being chosen and not being successful is incredibly painful, the familiarity of it feels extremely safe and oddly comforting. Having a personal energy that feels small and protected and guarded and invisible, there's a weird sense of control in that. Though it's a false sense of control because the logic of it is I'd rather not try at all. I'd rather not do anything at all and just keep myself small. I'd rather not try at all than take the risk and potentially fail. Because there's some part of you that thinks that you can't handle getting criticism or being seen or being misunderstood or temporarily failing or missing the mark. There's a part of you that's like, whoa, 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 I can't handle even the suggestion of that being a possibility. So I'm gonna keep myself over here. This feels safe and controlled, staying small, staying invisible, staying kind of a loser, whatever it is that you're identifying with. Loveless, poor, unhealthy, small, whatever it is, this is oddly safe, even though it causes me suffering. So we are gonna get deep into this today because it is something that is affecting a lot of your manifestations. And it's one of those kind of subconscious things that probably most of you aren't really thinking about or aren't really aware of. Like I would wager most of you aren't really thinking of, oh yeah, I have a fear of being seen. It's only now that I'm mentioning it that probably like 90% of you are like, whoa, I identify with what she just said. But most people aren't even conscious to the fact that subconsciously there's still a deep program that you're agreeing to that says, yes, value safety of kind of being guarded, being seen, holding yourself back, value that more, put more energy into that than the, again, risk of doing something totally different. So I want to address this potential blind spot in your manifestation and identity shifting mindset. But before we get into it, I will introduce myself to any of you who maybe you're just discovering this channel for the first time. My name is Genevieve. I'm a manifestation coach, an intuitive and energy healer, and on this channel, I really try to bring us deeper into the nuances of the manifestation process because it is absolutely true that you can have anything you want. But sometimes when we superficialize the process of manifestation too much, we're actually bypassing some of these deeper nuances that we're not even seeing about ourselves. And then we're confused, like, why isn't manifestation working? It is working. Reality is never saying no to you. It's just that you might not be addressing quite the right thing at the right time. So I am here. You have manifested me because you are ready to go deeper. And if you like me as a coach, if you want to work with me more, I do offer courses down below that are links to all the different courses down below that you can just start right now. I also offer private one-on-one coaching, but right now at the time that I'm posting this video, the coaching is closed. It'll be back open in July 2024. I'll make an announcement when the scheduling is back open. But if you don't want to do any of that, you can join the membership portion of this channel where there's extra perks and content. And if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can just enjoy the deep value I'm giving you in this free content. All I ask is that you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you get value out of this. So enough of that. Let's get into the meat and depth of this video. And I want to start this video by giving you a little story about me as a mirror to you. A real world example of how this fear of being seen affects your manifestation process, and apply this to anything. I'm going to talk about manifesting a specific person in my example, but again, this applies to anything you're manifesting, whether it's love, a job, health, money, anything specific, it applies. So like many of you, I discovered manifestation and the law of assumption in particular because there was a guy that I felt like was rejecting me. I had him on such a big pedestal, And I really wanted him to choose me. I really wanted him to talk to me, to acknowledge me, to want to spend time with me. And I know so many of you can relate to this because a lot of you were also brought to this community through this love of another person and feeling disconnected from that person and not knowing how to fix or heal the connection so that you guys can be together in the 3D in a healthy way. So I was trying to manifest this guy. I was doing all the things you hear to do, you know, affirm constantly, live in the end, totally misunderstanding what that actually means. You know, all the things, especially beginners do. They just consume a lot of content, try to apply a lot of techniques in different ways, and all of it is usually doing something to try to get something, which is a whole nother topic for another video. But the point that I want to focus on today with this particular SP is that at the time, I did not realize how I was actually terrified of him. And this is just part of the nature of having someone on a pedestal. When you put someone on a pedestal, you're kind of saying, this person has a lot of power over me. I can't handle rejection from this person. This person is so special, they're so interesting, they're so important that like it's too important. And therefore that like heightened sense of importance and risk equates to a lot of fear. Like I'm afraid of this guy because he's so cool, he's so important, which also, as you know, is just a projection. He's only on the pedestal because I made it for him. In reality, he's just a normal guy, but I am creating this barrier of the pedestal because of my own lack mentality and low self-esteem, all that fun stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I was affirming that he loves me, that he talks to me all the time, that he pursues me, that he's asking me out, that he's being emotionally available with me or whatever. But I was affirming something that I could in no way reciprocate. I was asking emotional availability of him, but in my state at that time, I was in no way willing to risk my own emotional vulnerability and availability. That'd be way too risky. There would be so much inherent risk of rejection if I got in an energy towards him that was truly emotionally just balanced and vulnerable and normal. So part of the nature of me affirming so much that he was doing that towards me was almost as a way to bypass my need to be emotionally available myself. I hope this is making sense. I was in a state of I'm afraid to be chosen. I'm afraid to be seen by him. I'm afraid to be myself and vulnerable. So I'm affirming that he's himself and vulnerable with me as almost like a hope that if he does it towards me first, that'll be a really safe way, that maybe if he does it towards me first after the fact, maybe then I'll feel safe to do it back towards him. But he has to do it first. I'm gonna stay safe and invisible, affirm that he does it, and then maybe if he does it, then I'll feel safe. I hope this is making sense and you're seeing how this fear of being seen does not translate well to actually getting what you want, because you have to already be what you want. This is why we say you already have it. You already are it. Practice embodying that you already feel safe with this person, or that you already feel very comfortable, like, oh yeah, I could have that job, that's easy. Or of course I could have that body, that's easy. I know these are kind of superficial examples that I'm giving, but that's the whole point of manifesting, is that you allow yourself to risk becoming the version of you that can match that level that you're asking of the 3D reality. If you're asking the 3D reality to do this for you, have this guy show up for you that's like amazing, emotionally vulnerable, totally healthy and secure, but you are still totally insecure, totally low self-esteem, not feeling like you want to be truly vulnerable with them at all. You can't be your real self, can't show your real emotions. If you're expecting this from your person or from your manifestation, again, doesn't matter what it is, obviously you're not going to receive it when who you are being is still small and down here and is like, no, I can't have it. Maybe if something in the 3D gives me permission, maybe I'll get it later. Because I get it. That is the logic of the safety mentality, is that maybe if the 3D gives me enough certainty, enough permission, certainty is what that safety, that fear of being seen thing wants so badly, is 3D, please give me certainty. The false logic of that, the fallacy of that, is that if the 3D gives you enough certainty, then maybe you'll feel comfortable to match it. But one, that is never true, because often the 3D is trying to give you some permission. It does know what you want, and it is trying to give you some little nudges of permission. But even when the 3D does give you a little permission, like, yeah, you can open up to this person, you, in that state of being afraid of being seen, you're like, nope, this isn't the full thing I want. I can't handle this. So it doesn't matter if the 3D is being nice to you and giving you some permission, you still wouldn't take it anyway. But the bigger thing is that you would not be able to hold it. So let's use a different example. Let's say that you've been manifesting your absolute dream job at this specific company, and it's like, whoa, all of a sudden it manifested, and that company is emailing you that offer right now. They want to hear from you in the next 24 hours. Like, will you accept this? It's totally exactly what you wanted. I promise you that for a lot of you, you might have a temporary ego boost of like, yeah, they sent me an offer. Yeah, this is awesome. But to actually live every day holding that position, you in that small state don't have the self-concept to hold and maintain and deal with the inherent risk that comes from living a bigger life, that comes from, wow, can you actually handle every day having that dream job, having the responsibilities of that job? Or wow, can you really handle every day living with your person and having a great relationship? Can you, not can they show up for you? It's not about them showing up for you. It's can you show up in that relationship or that job or that body? Can you show up in that every day and actually trust yourself to deal with the inherent risk that comes from abundance? And here's the thing, I'm using that phrase, inherent risk that naturally comes with abundance, very purposefully, because the more you gain in your life, the more love you have in your life, the more money you have in your life, the more health you have in your life, the more responsibility in a good way that you have in your life, the more you have a lot of good stuff, then the more you have to lose. And that can feel like a really painful risk to us. And not only that, but as we briefly touched on before, the path to get there involves a lot of moments of potential rejection, potential criticism, potential misunderstanding, potential failure in general. But here's the thing, the person who is a great conscious manifester is always willing to fail. Why are we willing to fail? Because we are not afraid of circumstances. We are not afraid of someone temporarily criticizing us or someone temporarily misunderstanding us or us being temporarily rejected. We genuinely see those as just circumstances that don't define us. So if I temporarily get rejected now, I'm not like, oh my God, I can't handle this. I need to go back into my cave and just wallow. I don't respond that way to rejection or criticism or anything like that so much anymore. This is the true deeper meaning of circumstances don't matter, that you can see a circumstance pop up, be a lot more neutral to it, a lot more non-reactive to it, and just be like, yep, well, that's okay. This is a part of the process. This isn't my end, but whatever, it's a part of the process. The person who is that kind of self-concept, where they're just so confident and loyal to their true self, their true higher knowing, that they don't feel like they have to hide and protect themselves all the time. Those people that are living from that true higher confidence are pretty neutral to rejection. And again, the paradox of that is that the more willing you are to fail, ironically, the less likely you are to fail. That's a very fascinating manifestation thing I've seen play out over and over again in my life and in the lives of my clients, that when they genuinely become willing to either walk away from something they need to walk away from, or do something different that's really scary that they need to do, or just simply commit to a practice that they've been too afraid to commit to, when they finally shift into the energy of that I'm willing to fail. I'm just going to do this, and whatever, even if failure happens, so what? It's temporary. It's just a circumstance. It doesn't define me. I don't need to protect myself from it. The irony is that when you're so done engaging with the fear about it as if the fear is real, that is when you've finally taken your power back from that fear. And once you've taken your power back, that's when it doesn't really manifest so much anymore. But here's the part that is extremely important. So I'm really glad that you have watched to this point. I do not want you to mistakenly think that you need to completely get over your fear before you can move on to the receiving of the success or love or whatever it is. You will never get over a fear by trying to get over it or thinking, oh, I can't move on until I stop being afraid. You need to accept that your fear can come with you into the wish fulfilled. This is why people say that famous quote, feel the fear and do it anyway. That very much applies to manifestation as well, because what manifests is your dominant state. So even if you have a little bit of fear. If you're dominantly choosing, yeah, I'm not choosing this fear. The fear's here. I get it. I'm afraid of being seen. The fear's here, but I'm making a more dominant choice to choose this energy up here that is like, I know that I'm still moving towards my target. I know that I'm still going to do what I need to do, be who I need to be, hold myself as I need to hold myself, assume what I need to assume. I'm still going to be more loyal to this than try to fix the fear. But when you're doing the opposite and saying, no, I can't move on, I can't manifest until I fix this fear, you're actually making the fear dominant because you're giving it your dominant focus and your dominant power. You're saying, yeah, this fear, it has to totally go away. It's unmanageable. I can't do anything until the fear goes away. How do I fix the fear? How do I change the fear? The answer is you do not fix or change the fear. The answer is you simply acknowledge it. You say, I get that. That was my conditioning forever. I've been afraid of being seen. I've been afraid of my SP. I've been afraid of being successful. I've been afraid of being healthy. You simply acknowledge it and acknowledge that, yeah, it's felt really safe and comfortable to keep myself small. I get it. I did that, but I am no longer taking this feeling of fear seriously. I'm not going to act in accordance to it. I'm not even going to argue with it. I am simply going to leave the fear here, just over here, and I'm going to bring all my attention over to this is what's really happening for me. I'm keeping my eye on the prize, as they say, that this is what I'm going for, even if the fear is over here still kind of lingering, I'm even still kind of feeling it. That's okay. It's not really a threat to me. I'm still focusing on this. I'm willing to face whatever I need to face to ensure that I get to where I know I deserve to go. So you cannot be afraid of your SP because that is you saying, I actually don't want to be seen by him. I don't want him to even choose me. So if you're saying you want him to pursue you and choose you, but actually you're so afraid of him that you feel like you couldn't even handle it, you wouldn't even know what to say if he texted you, obviously the energy is not matching up for him to come in and pursue you. And again, the same goes for everything that you are manifesting. If you're really afraid of being successful, if you're afraid of being healthy and how to maintain being healthy, all that's happening is you're still dominantly agreeing to that fear of being seen, that fear of actually getting what you want, that fear that says, you know what, it's so much easier to just stay small and yeah, go into your victim story of yeah, nothing ever works out for you and yeah, it sucks, but this is so much better to just stay small and stay here and stay safe than to actually commit to no, even if it's painful to expand in this direction, because I promise it will be at first. It's uncomfortable to expand to such a big identity. If that's what you're going for, if you're manifesting a lot of success, a lot of love, a lot of attention, if you're manifesting a big identity, then there's going to be some growing pains. And the more you're just accepting of that, that's a part of this process, that there's growing pains of me leaving my safe little fear cave where I could just huddle in the darkness and feel bad for myself, but also hate my life, but also feel very safe. Leaving that fear cave is going to cause me to be temporarily uncomfortable as I expand, but I'm willing to accept that uncomfortability. I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to be more vulnerable. And it's not even about being vulnerable in the 3D. It's about your energy internally being willing to be seen. I really need to emphasize this right now, that this isn't about being different in the 3D. It's not about changing your behavior in the 3D yet. Change of behavior in the 3D should come naturally after you feel natural in a different way in yourself about your new self-concept. So it's really internal exposure to that new identity, that facing your fears internally, saying, yeah, I am afraid of that, but I'm still going this direction. I still know this is working out for me. I'm still committing to, even though it's uncomfortable to accept my wish fulfilled, I'm still practicing accepting it. And I'm not letting any circumstance cause me to crumble. I accept the 3D. I surrender to the mysterious weirdness of it and how sometimes it does throw me a curveball. That's kind of the funness of all of this. If you are manifesting in an attempt to gain more certainty about yourself, you are probably not in the right state of being. What I have found over and over again is that the more you don't need certainty, the better you are at manifesting. When you need certainty, you're being someone who's insecure and you need things in the 3D to prop you up, like we talked about before. There's this belief and this assumption that like, if things in the 3D can just be easily controlled by me enough and just prop me up enough and just feel, safe and certain enough, then maybe I'll be okay. You have to let that go. You have to let go of the need for certainty and the need to please anyone. This is also a big thing, which could honestly be a different video because this video is already so long. But part of being a manifestor is also not being afraid of temporarily disappointing someone or upsetting someone because you're being a different person, you're being a stronger person. So for example, if a big part of your old story was that you were a big people pleaser, you would kind of let people walk all over you. Part of your manifestation journey is gonna be being like, you know what? No, I'm not here to please anybody. If someone asks me to do something that is, I feel intuitively is not aligned with like what I'm doing right now, I'm gonna say no. And even if they're temporarily disappointed or upset or whatever, that's a them problem. I'm not taking it on as personal. I'm not giving it any meaning because I give myself this meaning that this is where I'm going no matter what. I'm not stalling this process of like all this abundance I'm going for anyone's people pleasing weirdness. So really embrace this risk. It's gonna be so difficult for you to manifest if you're trying to manifest from this like fear of being seen place where you're so obsessed with trying to milk certainty out of the 3D world. You're going backwards if that's how you're trying to manifest. If you're using manifestation in an attempt to like get more certain about yourself, that is not good. And again, I was doing that when it came to that very first SP. I was absolutely doing that. I wanted certainty. I was so afraid of being rejected, so afraid of this guy, because again, I gave him so much power. I was so afraid of him that I gave him so much power that I was manifesting in an attempt to control and gain certainty. But all of that is only coming from, I can't risk this. I'm too afraid about this situation. I just can't handle the risk. I hope this is making sense. The paradox of it is that the more you are willing to risk and just keep going with what you know to be true about you, no matter what anybody says to you, no matter how anyone's reacting to you, no matter what temporary circumstances are popping up, the more you remain unwavering in this is who I am, no matter what the situation is out here, when you're willing to take that risk to be so fully allegiant to your higher knowing of yourself, that is when the 3D really matches you. Because again, the 3D is never gonna give you permission to feel safe. The 3D is always coming after you. You have to go first. You have to be what you're claiming you want before the 3D will show you what you want. So if you're hoping it'll show you just to give you permission to open up a little bit, it's not gonna work. You are, again, going backwards. Okay, this video has gotten long enough. I know that you got some good stuff out of it. As always, please let me know your thoughts, your questions, ideas for future video topics that you really want to hear me talk about. Please let me know all of that in the comments below. Have a great night. As always, I'm just so proud of you guys. You guys are really making big shifts. I can just tell from other comments of yours that I see that I can feel you shifting with this information. It's like this is activating you, and just trust that you just taking in this information that I'm giving you is activating you in a different way. And it doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be a lot of effort. You just need to accept that, yep, this new information is my update. We are not doing the old thing anymore. The old conditioning, it's still there because it just kind of sits there until I really move away from it. It dissolves on its own. Don't need to fix it or even mess with it. It'll dissolve on its own the farther you just move away from it. But you guys are really getting that. So I'm really proud of you. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys in my next video. All right, bye.